it stops, no one knows. We're going
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Criminality. Or welcome back to Criminality. Ah, man, it's been a while. What are we like it's been like 2 weeks, I think, again. It's just, life is hard sometimes. So, welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you guys. I have missed you. Happy freaking Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday, and I'm so glad that we don't have football. We had football last night, not tonight. We get the night off. So here I am with you guys, and I'm so happy to be here. I have missed you guys so very much. I know everybody's like, where the hell have you been? What are you doing? Life is just, sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes there's just so much going on that I just can't, I get overwhelmed, and I can't function with everything. So we've got multiple sports with multiple children, multiple back-to-back games. I have done my best to try to keep up. I have thought about doing some late night lives, but then I'm exhausted. It's just, life is just really hard right now. It's a really shitty time for life to be hard right now, with the Delphi trial coming up. But I know that there is a good handful of creators that have been top notch on breaking down everything heading into the Delphi trial and jury selection, which starts in a couple of days. I can't even believe we're already here. Like, we're ready to go. Like, I guess the question is, are you ready to go? But I have missed you guys so very much. I'm hoping that I can get everything back on track, and we will be able to do days, DB. It's days. Maddie's trial just started. Okay, so I'm gonna get into that in high malicious intent. Let me say hi to everybody here in just a minute. So I do have some things I'm gonna discuss with you guys about what I want to do on the channel, essentially starting next week, because we are kind of packed with how much information is happening in different trials and cases that I have followed. Also, kind of the plan with how we're going to cover the Delphi trial without cameras in the courtroom, which I feel like we're still not going to get them, but I'm not going to lose all hope. But like I said, I've missed you guys. I'm going to say hi to you guys in chat, and then we're going to get started on kind of what we're going to go through today, and what to expect when Delphi trials happen. So, hi Adrian, hi BH, hi Heather, hi Just Deb. Woman doing a shadow ban. I was going to say a showdown. I thought it said showdown for a second. Woman doing a shadow ban. Like, how did you end up with that? This is what happens. You take a little bit of time and you're not like all up in the know, and then people are changing their names and you don't know how we got here. What's up, Nola Mama? Hi Dean. Hi Hammy. Hi Bezo. Hi Sally. There aren't cameras or audio in Maddie's either. Are you going to Maddie's? Have you been going? It should have started, what, the 7th or the 9th? And I have to go back and look, but 7th or the 9th. Are you going every day, or how's that? What's up, DB? Hi, Jamie. Hi, Yankee Ghost. Hi, All on the Prowl. You're just raising awareness. You're raising awareness. She did a shadow ban. That's how. That's funny. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Kaleida Hope. Hi, Kayla. Susie Q. A bunch of pencil sketches. Can't wait to see the goal pictorial sketches. I know. RNM and DB banned you. I don't believe that's ever even going to happen. They're raising awareness. Hi, Post-Punk Mama. Debs. Hi, Nancy. Heavy Metal. What's up? Hi, Cleveland Rocks. Odie Doty. Oh, did I miss people? Did I miss everybody? Did I miss anybody? Hopefully I didn't. Let me see. Did I say hi to Jamie? Hi, Jamie. Trying to scroll up. Hi, Laura. Okay, so for Maddie's case, this is Madeline Kingsbury, so it's a different Maddie than I think most people are probably used to. Jury selection is still going on, trial about 4 days late as of now. I'll be going for the 3rd week, or at least going to help Katie. Okay, good. You will be updating us. Are you going to do a live? Hi, Shiloh. What's up, Digital? Hey, Criminal Network. Hi, Percocent. Hi, Jen. I said hi up there, but saying hi again. Missed you. I missed you guys. Hi, Young Black Economist. Hey, Shaz. Okay, so there's been some kind of craziness with some of these. Hey, Snappy Dragon. We have so many cases kind of unfolding right now. So if you guys have followed the Quentin Simon case out of Georgia, Leilani Simon's jury selection started on Wednesday and has been completed as of today. They have selected 12 jurors for alternates. And that trial was not going to be streamed. And now, as of a couple of days ago, the judge has ruled that she is going to, or that they are going to allow cameras in her for her trial. So we will have an opportunity to watch Leilani's trial now. So this is kind of throwing a curveball for me, because I had actually put together, or I did not finish. I shouldn't say put together. I was starting to put together an entire case presentation for Quentin's case, because it's a case that I followed very closely. And I wanted to be able to share it with you guys. And I was actually talking with a couple people, and I was like, I don't know what to do, because they're not going to televise it. It might be not the best use for you guys if you guys aren't going to be able to see it. But now that you are, I'm kind of contemplating going back and finishing it and then seeing what will happen. Like, if we can kind of follow that trial along. So obviously, the opening statements are Monday for that case. Obviously, you guys are here for the Delphi case. Delphi, the jury selection starts on the 14th. It's going to last 3 days, and then they should be down in, the jury selection is in Allen County. The jury should be down in Carroll County by the end of next week. So Leilani is in custody, yes. Yes, she is. Hey, Fiend. Hi, ATS. So we have that one happening. So why I was contemplating doing Leilani's case when it wasn't going to be televised, I kind of switched it because I know a ton of you guys have asked me to cover Sarah Boon's case. Well, so Sarah Boon's jury selection was supposed to start, well, kind of started this last week on the 7th. And then and a prayer down to everybody who has endured anything to do with the last 2 hurricanes that have come across Florida and just annihilated the place. The Sarah Boon trial, it was actually postponed a week and is now starting next week. So there are cameras in Boon's case. So I've followed Boon's case. I struggle with it. I mean, she's guilty. I don't really understand I just feel like for me personally, and this is not about anybody, I'll probably watch it on other people's and maybe touch on it. I know you guys are like so in it because it's so, Sarah Boon is just a fucking cuckoo person. She's just out there. I just feel like it's definitely like an entertainment value, and I don't know how much for me it was. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask about that one. So Boon will have cameras. Well, now Leilani's will have cameras. So then there's also Madeline's case out of Wisconsin, which is her husband who killed her and tried to hide her body and just say like she just took off and whatever else. That was another case that I followed pretty closely, and my friend over here, Malicious Intent, follows very closely. She's friends with some of Madeline's friends, so she follows it very closely. Another just stupid, tragic case of husbands who just think that they can control everything. But they're not televising it, and there's no audio. So if you guys are familiar with that case, I highly suggest maybe one of the mods can drop Malicious Intent's channel, because she'll be posting updates as she gets them from inside the courtroom. So that's just a tough situation. So what happened with Minnesota? Did I say Wisconsin? I am going to Wisconsin, so I'm thinking like, I don't know why I said Wisconsin. It's Minnesota. It's Minnesota. I don't know how I would miss that. It's Minnesota. I know that. I don't know why I said that. We just found out that nationals for next year is in Wisconsin. So I'm thinking about Wisconsin. FYI, next summer I'll be in Wisconsin. Anybody gives a shit. So yeah, if you guys could drop Malicious Intent, and then if you want to drop like a little synopsis. So essentially it was her husband was saying that she took off, and then they ended up finding her not far from his parents' property. Just left. Where in Wisconsin? I think we're going Green Bay. I think that's what they said. It's Green Bay. I just got the news, so I'm not 100%, but I think it's Green Bay. Because every year Nationals is somewhere else. Malicious Intent does have a live on the whole case if anybody wants to go back and look at that. So, hi, Salty Sweet Tea. What's up? Hey, Kraken. Let me see. I'm just seeing there's other people popping in. I may have missed you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to see if I missed anybody else that popped in. Hi, R&M. She's not someone I'm interested in calling out the state for. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm invested in that case. In Boon's case, I just kind of feel like she's a train wreck, and we're gonna watch it to watch the train wreck, which, don't get me wrong, like, I love a good train wreck. I just don't know when it comes to being piled on with so many other cases that I'm so invested in that I would put her top notch. Now, I do believe, and I don't know if somebody could drop this channel for me, if one of the wrenches can drop this channel. The Ward Case Studies is my friend Jen Liu. She is deep in Sarah Boon. I mean, like, deep in Sarah Boon. So she will be covering that trial and that case. I don't know. I thought I had heard Bob mention, it's been a little while, so I'm kind of trying to go by memory here on some things. Thought I heard Bob mention that he might be streaming the trial, or that Allie might be streaming the trial or doing commentary on it. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. And I'll touch on it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'll touch on it. I just don't know. It's not something that I'm going to deep dive into. I think the woman is guilty. I think she's an idiot for not taking the plea deal that she was offered this week. So she was offered 15 years with an 85%. Mind you, the woman has already served 4 years. So, because it's not a new case, it's an old case. Well, I hate that case, like in a fucking suitcase. It's like a, what do you call it? A conundrum or whatever. But she should have already been done. Hey, Ruckus, good to see you. Hey, Captain America. So like she should have just taken it. She would have served 4 to 8 years. And the woman's fucking guilty. Like, I mean, she knows she's guilty. It's on fucking video. I don't even, so yes, I get the entertainment value. Yes, I get, like, it's interesting and we want to see the outcome. And like I said, I'll go with that, but it's not a case that I'm going to be diving super into. Since Boon got booted because of the hurricane, Allie's going to pitch in, stream Boon while Bob's in Delphi. Okay, I thought I heard that, but I didn't want to, like, throw them out there and be like, yeah, that's what's happening. I feel like I'm missing a case that should be happening right now. Maybe I should just pull up the case. There should be another case going on right now. I'm missing it. Somebody tell me. 10. Yes, I know. It's so much at the same time. She's an idiot. That's pretty like, she's an idiot. She's so dumb. Hold on real quick, you guys. Hold Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Hi, Angel. Hi, Christine. Let's see. Greenie. Yeah. So I feel like there's another case though. Like somebody tell me I'm missing a case. I feel like I'm missing a case. Hey, Callie. So good to see you. Hi, Dr. Vonda. Okay. Did I say hi to Greenie? I saw Greenie up here. I don't know if I said hi right before my husband walked in. Why do I feel like I'm missing? I'm pulling up the list. So another update that we got is a trial date set in the Idaho 4 case for August 11th of 2025. So they had gone back and forth about it being over the summer, and then they got the change of venue, a new judge, and so now it's over by Boise. And that judge was like, no, I don't think summer is a good time, so we should go before or after. The defense obviously did not want to go before, so they chose after. So let me take a look. Hi, Mama Bear. But when is Rachel's? It's not right now. Stephen Stern's nothing yet. No, another trial that's supposed to be going on right now. Donna Adelson's. It did get postponed? But that's not, I don't think that's the one I was thinking of. Here, let's pop in here and take a look at what we got. Laura, I don't think he even wanted to be I think Judge was done, and he just was like, this needs to have a special judge that comes in and takes over. And he was so, a lot of people didn't like Judge. I didn't have any issue with him. I thought he was very fair, but he played very cautiously because it was such a high profile case that he just wasn't sure about what he was doing. And he just was like, he kept acting like he was going to make the wrong decision. And then, that, you know what? I do think I saw an article on that. Someone committed a crime, so he has a trial to cover. All right, let me see. Let me make this bigger. I haven't updated it in a couple of weeks, so the dates might be off. So that's 2025. Oh, there's also something I do want to do. I do want to do a live, and hopefully I can squeeze it in on Lori. This bitch, she did an interview. Well, not an interview. She had a conversation with her son, Colby, and who's running his own podcast now and has his own YouTube channel, which he did before, but it's changed now. And she fucking blames Tylee. She blames Tylee. Okay, we know that we have that one. That one's now August 11th of 2025. Here's Leilani and Quentin Simon, in case anybody doesn't remember who they are. Corey Richins got postponed to 2025. There's Boon's. I know there's a hearing for that one. It's a hearing. I feel like there's just another case that was supposed to be starting right in the middle of Delphi. Hey, BR. Hey, BR. Hi, Jenny. Let me see. Yes, I was living in Phoenix when her brother killed hubby number 3. The sheriff shot the judge. Yeah. Hey, true crime fan. Please don't take so long off ever again. Your voice is so soothing, and I missed it so much. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Anna Walsh just had a hearing. This is Madeline Kingsbury out of Minnesota, not Wisconsin. I don't know why the fuck I said that. This is her husband or baby daddy or whatever you want to call him, piece of shit, Adam Fravel. Now this one's in January. I'm just doing a quick skim. Now that's another hearing. Maybe I'm just thinking it's hearings. Hers got postponed also, which is weird. Hey, Marianne. And you guys saw that they found a little Elijah Vu. Chad Dorman pled guilty, so his is done. Oh, that one's done. I don't know. I just had it in my head that there was something else that was going to be happening at the same time. But Minnesota. You guys are so sweet. Bob said he's invested with sheriff and judge and following until end of trial. I don't know if I know enough about it, but I don't know if we'll even have a trial, to be honest with you. Let's see. Malicious Intent says in Minnesota they drink pop. It'll come to me at a time that it doesn't even matter. Okay, so let's talk Delphi. Let's go talk Delphi. There's been a ton of filings and stuff, nothing over the top until more recently, so we haven't missed a ton. Yeah, Chad Dorman killed his little boys, and good thing he pled guilty because his wife and stepdaughter did not need to go through any of that stuff. Leilani Simon, yep. So that one's going to be televised. So I've never been so tempted to actually stream a trial as I am with hers because I was just so invested in that case. It was one of the first big cases that I had followed when I started my own channel. I don't know, but it's like wrong time zone, and so it really fucked with me. Georgia versus Melody Walker. Hi, Mother of Dragons. Rambling. Skin of my teeth. Made it through all the mayhem with Milton here in Fort Pierce. Thank gosh. Ah, Bonnie, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. I missed you guys. Keith D's trial should be coming up. I think they got a lot of hearings still. All right. Hey, Blind Squirrel. Let's see. In way north Minnesota, like cities, people would be like, "Oh, you live up north." Yeah. True crime fangirl. Okay, so Karen Reed. I need to put that back on the list, don't I? I guess I took it off when we were done, but I should put it back on. Hers is scheduled right now for January. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we're going to have it in January, but I'd be surprised if we don't, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so that one's in January. Birchmore and Walsh. Walsh had a hearing that I wasn't able to watch yet. I hadn't had the time to watch it, and so I need to go back and see the update on that. I don't know that one. And Birchmore. Is there an update on Birchmore? Let's just double check. Then we're going to get into some Delphi stuff. Sandra Birchmore. I don't know if there's they're going to have a while before they ever get to trial on Birchmore, in my opinion. But I did want to do a deep dive into that. We'll have to kind of play it by ear. I hate that I feel like I've like over promising and under delivering, which makes me really mad at myself for you guys. And I don't want to continue to do that, but sometimes I have like all these big things that I think like I want to do all of this, and I really want to. It's just actually putting it into my life and making it happen that sometimes it doesn't work out as well as I want it to. I'm like, I have big hopes and big dreams that I want to share with you, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm tired and I can't do it. The update on Birch. The update on Birchmore is that we found out she worked for the Trump campaign. She did. She did? Like Ashley Benefield? Hi, Hybrid. I miss you. Yeah, but I should have my shit together by now. I just don't. It's a story of my life, T. Story of my life. Hey, Bushi. Okay. So, oh, look at they got some membership milestones. 6 months. Woo, Christine. Malicious Intent. Love you mucho always. I love you. 22 months. Hot diggity damn. Hi, Allegedly Innocent. You are actually live like really early, probably for you, but I think it was really late for me. And I was like I was peeking in. I was like, if I end up talking, I'm gonna end up like staying up, and I was supposed to be already sleeping. But I popped in. I love Allegedly Innocent's channel. It's just she's an extremely intelligent human being. And so I was like peeking in there. I was like, what are you doing? What's up? Early, but the sunrise was gorgeous. Yeah, I hadn't gone to bed yet. It's so bad. I know. It's so bad. Hi, the Rockaways. Definitely not ready. So disappointed with the injustice of the state, the prison system, and the trusted medical providers that have almost just tuned out. I think that's another frustrating part for me. Hi, my three sons. I've been wondering where you've been. I just Delphi without you. I just say, yeah, I know. I've been struggling with the Delphi stuff I think since everything was just like shut down, and I had so much hope that by the end of the trial we were going to be able to see the truth, that like a lot of us were going to have like closure's not the right word, but we were going to have like a more of a finality and not this because as everybody knows with Delphi, I'm such a fence sitter, and it's mostly because of the fact that I don't trust the state. I don't trust their evidence. I don't trust their investigators. And I really just hoped at the end of the whole thing I was going to have faith in whatever the jury came up with. And I think I've almost lost faith. I've really lost faith in the fact that I feel like at the end of this we're going to actually have the truth of the matter. And I just wanted that. I wanted that for us. I wanted that for mostly for the families. I wanted that for Richard Allen's family. I don't have faith that we're going to be able to go, okay, this is what happened, or a good idea of what happened, because you guys know we've watched a lot of trials and we've talked a lot about a lot of cases. I just don't. I think I feel very like let down by like our justice system in general when it comes to this case, because I don't feel like we're going to walk away with what we can even believe happened. I just feel like we're going to be stuck in the same fucking spot that everybody's been stuck in for all these years. You think Judge Cole will dismiss the case tomorrow on a Saturday? I'm not that much of a fence sitter. I truly am a fence sitter when it comes to his innocence or guilt. I just don't believe anything that we're told. And I really wanted to be able to have the evidence in front of us that says, this is what they've got. This is how we got here. And we'd go, okay, we get it. We get it. I haven't even seen the mugshot. Can somebody send me the mugshot? I haven't seen the mugshot. I have all the documents, but I didn't see the mugshot. You know, and so I think I just held on to that hope, and I feel like it kind of crashed and burned. Because I just feel like we're never going to be able to go. It's never going to go away. And the families are going to consistently have to go. And people are constantly like, well, of course, all cases get an appeal. But it's like, not all cases get actual support for an appeal. Okay. Why do you think things have been so sketchy with this prosecution? I think that this entire, let's go with like kind of the unified command / prosecution, because as people go like, okay, if you have a conspiracy, it takes, you'd have to include all these 500 people that are involved in this conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. And I don't believe that. I believe what you have to have is a unit of people, like a unified command that are powerful and trusted by a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people, and that they fall in line. If you look through documents from both sides of the case, it literally goes back to, well, I was told this by a Holman, by a Liggett, like all these people that they're the ones in the power position. And so all the other investigators underneath, they're like, well, we stopped looking at this because so-and-so told us that we didn't need to. And that's how it goes, because it's a chain of command. I mean, that's what happens, right? it's, but so all those other people who would have to be included in the conspiracy don't, because they're just told to shut the fuck up, and that's what they do, or they go away. And um, so I think that they needed this case to go away. Why? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if there was because other people were looking into it, because they were getting, you know, a lot of pushback on why this wasn't solved. I mean, how many people at the beginning of this case, like just, you know, the average folk were like, you have this guy on video, you have DNA, you have fingerprints. I mean, this is a town of 3,000 people. How the fuck do you not know who did this? Like everybody, like off the bat, kind of thought like they were going to just arrest the right guy and everything was going to go the way it should when somebody kills two little girls. And so I don't think, I'm not in the of the opinion that it was like to get Liggett to be sheriff. I think that was probably a bonus for Liggett, but I believe that there was incompetence, and then there was corruption to cover up incompetence. I think they fucked up the investigation, and then these guys, these powerful people, came in and said, hey, let's clear the board, let's do this. Do I believe that Richard Allen is a patsy? Not necessarily. I think he fits what they wanted him to, and he may be the guy, but I don't think that it's the right move to put people in prison just because we think they're the right guy, without the evidence that actually supports it based on what our system is supposed to represent. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think that there's a top tier of people who are just trying to control the narrative, and the little folk are stuck. So it's a passive self-interest conspiracy. Yeah. On this unseasonably warm day. Yeah, I agree with you. Hi, Truth and Transparency. I missed a couple of people popping in. Hi, you guys. Thank you guys for being here. It's always money. I know. Isn't that what they say? Like what the main motives of anything are is what? Money, sex. What's the other one? Money, sex, revenge? No. What is the other one? There's like the trifecta. Hi, Rochelle. That's what people who don't understand what a conspiracy say about a conspiracy. You need 500,000 people to be a part of a conspiracy. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. And rock and roll, religion, yeah, power. Yeah, allegedly, this is like, don't even get me started on the prison bullshit. Okay, so before we get into some of the newer documents, there's actually a couple things that I want to touch on. And money, sex, and electric weircats. You know what? I could see that. I could see it. But on a serious note, there's a reason I made sure that I made time today to go live was for a very specific reason. And if you guys, most of you in this chat are people who have followed this case intently for a very long time. And so it is October 11th, and I wanted to just make sure I was on here to say publicly that it has been a year since Robert Kyle Forson committed suicide. And I just wanted to, just put into retrospect what that actually entailed for all the people who were close to him, and just send my thoughts and prayers to his family and his friends. And I just cannot believe it's been a year. But his friends, family, his wife, his daughter, have been in my thoughts and prayers. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was live to say that publicly. Because no matter what people think, I do believe he was a victim of this case, of the travesty of what this case has allowed in the public. And I think that there is some culpability that's not being taken by the people who played a role in, pushing him. And I'm not gonna say which investigator I believe that is, but Obviously, there's nobody who, when it comes to suicide, there's a lot that normally entails it, and I know this because I have my very, very, very close friend committed suicide many years ago now, and it's not something that you'll ever understand. It's not something that you'll ever be able to put a reason behind. It's not somebody who gets blamed. There's normally a lot that's going on in that person's life, and they get to a point where they feel that there's no other way out. And so just want to say my thoughts and prayers are with his family. I can't believe it's been a year. I mean, I can't believe it's been a year. So it's a tough anniversary. My dad passed away in 2023, and all the anniversaries are hard. And I will tell you guys, it's another thing that I have struggled with, is that September 27th was my dad's birthday. So it kind of put me in a funk, and sometimes you don't know that they're coming, but they do. So it happens, and you just kind of have to go with it. So that's why I want to make sure that everybody knows, that there are people that care about you, even if there's other people on this stupid online social media case of bullies and mean, hateful people. There are people who actually do care, and the reason that I didn't just walk away at the multiple times that I've had people attacking me is because there's so many good people. It outweighs the pieces of shit. And so just want you to always remember that there are people who care about you, and you're not ever really alone. So don't ever feel like you are, because somebody will find you and somebody will take care of you. So with that, I have a clip that I want to show you guys, and this is not about the Delphi case, but I want you to pay attention to the words that are involved in this, because it is about the Delphi case, and you'll understand what I'm saying when I get there. You guys know, like I follow a lot of cases, especially the legal side, because I like to try to understand when things play out in other, in cases like Delphi or whatnot. But there's, other cases that I followed quite intently, one of them being Barry Morphew's case. Now I know a lot of you may not be familiar with the case itself, but like I said, this clip is about the case, but it's about what's actually said in it, and I want you guys to pay more attention to that. Barry Morphew was arrested. So his wife, I do have a documentary that I actually made on it. It's one of my pride and joys, to be honest with you. That I followed very closely this case, but the district attorney in this case really caused some major issues on what ended up transpiring with his case, and all charges ended up being dropped. They had not, at the time of that arrest and the subsequent dropping of the charges, her body had not been found. So they're able to rearrest him, and now that her body has been found, I've been counting to when they're going to actually do something with the case. But Linda Stanley was the district attorney at the time, and she made some bold comments. She did some interviews. She ended up under gag order, but she also received a lot of sanctions. So I want you guys to hear that part, but I'm going to play it because in case you guys need any backstory, but I'll probably kind of skip a little bit ahead, just because I want you guys to understand the situation. Yeah. So let me share this first. Actually, this is Uncivil Law. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, it's a great channel. But we're going to play his video. There is the video. Please make sure you guys go give him a sub up. He is an attorney too, so he's part of like the whole law tube that you guys are familiar with.
Multiple high-profile cases and end up getting disbarred faster than you can say mistrial. Well, meet Linda Stanley, the prosecutor who turned a straightforward murder case into a full-blown legal dumpster fire.
Can you guys hear it or no? I need to know that first. Carrie, thank you. Hi, honey, by the way. Hi, everybody that's popped in that I haven't said hi to. USA Libertarian, Thierry, Skeptic, IKO, Hi, Scott. Alan had a problem with young girls. He was pissed. So many lives lost connected to this case. I know. Hi, Johnny. Aw, Kayla. It's coming up on the anniversary. Aw, Kit Kat. Hi, Anja. Anniversaries are, I thought it was 20 years ago this year that I lost my dad, and it still gets to me. Morphew is guilty as fuck. I agree with you, but you know that's the other thing. He's technically not because they can't even fucking arrest him. Did you get to listen to R&M video about Holman? I've listened to a lot of R&M videos about Holman, so you might want to be a little bit more specific. Is it a recent thing? I have not watched anything today. I meant to buy 10, not 5. So there's the Carrie. You're so sweet. Thank you. You leave on Sunday. Are you gonna go to jury selection? Thank you, Yankee Ghost. That's so sweet. Did anybody say they could hear it and I didn't even bother to listen? Hi, Peggy. Yeah, yuppers, you can hear. Okay, perfect.
And frankly, amateurish behavior didn't just hurt her career, it obliterated it. We're talking about blatant ethical breaches, wild goose chases after judges, and PR stunts that would make even the most shameless attention seekers cringe. You might think I'm exaggerating, but trust me, what went down in Colorado's 11th Judicial District is the kind of legal catastrophe that makes seasoned attorneys shake their head in disbelief. From giving press conferences that sounded more like she was auditioning for a role in Loose Lips in some sort of bad courtroom drama. She went on to give multiple interviews, effectively portraying Morphew as the guy in the public eyes who was guilty before the trial even began. Her comments were so problematic that they became the basis for a judicial ruling to move the trial out of its original county. Think about it. The district attorney's own blabbermouth actions forced a change of venue because the judges decided that her own comments tainted the jury pool. Now, that's not just a mistake, that's legal malpractice. But if you think it's bad, you haven't seen anything yet. Because if there's one thing worse than a DA who can't stop talking, it's a DA who can't manage the evidence worth a damn. Now, handling evidence is typically prosecutor 101. You don't need to be Perry Mason to know that messing up discovery is like signing your case's own death warrant. So what did Stanley do? She botched it so badly, it almost makes you wonder if she understood the rules at all. Now, imagine receiving a 10 terabyte external hard drive filled with case evidence and thinking, yeah, we'll just hand this over to the defense without organizing anything. And that's exactly what Stanley's office did. It was like dumping a massive unsorted pile of jigsaw pieces on the defense desk and saying, good luck. Now, judges don't look kindly on that sort of thing. Go figure. Prosecutor Stanley's mismanagement of discovery wasn't just sloppy, it was catastrophic. Entire chunks of evidence were delayed, incomplete, or straight up missing. The result? Multiple judicial sanctions, critical evidence being thrown out.
What was that you said? Hold on. What did you just say? It were unorganized, terrible, missing discovery issues. And what happened to Linda Stanley?
Prosecutor Stanley's mismanagement of discovery wasn't just sloppy, it was catastrophic. Entire chunks of evidence were delayed, incomplete, or straight up missing. The result? Multiple judicial sanctions, critical evidence being thrown out in trial, and the defense having more ammunition than they knew what to do with. And Prosecutor Stanley's response to the disaster? She didn't seem to care. When the court started to issue warnings and even sanctions, the prosecutor shrugged it off as if she was being scolded for not doing her own homework. And let's not forget her stellar supervision skills, because as the prosecutor, she has to supervise her staff. And despite having experienced deputies like Jeffrey Lindsay and Mark Hulbert at her disposal, Stanley couldn't or wouldn't provide the guidance needed to keep the case on track. Now, it's one thing to make a mistake, it's another to dig in your heels and refuse to fix it. Her own team described the office as chaotic and dysfunctional.
Hi, Michael. But you know damn well, even if that's the case, Nick will just say, well, it's not important, so we didn't even bother to look at it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't pertain to Richard Allen, so we don't really care, because we don't really care about figuring out what the fuck actually happened.
Deputy even quit over the lack of support and structure, leaving Stanley sinking ship for calmer waters. Now, if you thought she'd stop digging her own grave at the Discovery fiasco stage, think again. Because next up is Stanley's idea of conflict resolution, investigating the judge. Yeah, you heard that right.
All right, I'll leave this, but that was the major part that I wanted you guys to hear. And we talked, like I said, we go over other cases. We did this when it came to the Rush trial, and you see these different standards. I guess that's just the basic word for it. You see different standards for all these other attorneys and these other judges that we just don't see here. And I think that I've also come to the realization that I think that people who don't follow multiple cases, people who don't understand the law, and people who just follow Delphi in the we just want an answer for Delphi have created that very big Richard Allen is guilty group, because they don't understand anything really outside of it, and they just want it to be who they say it is. I think for a lot of us that want to have studied the law, to have paid attention to other cases for a very long time, can kind of see that there's things that are wrong here. So even if you think Richard Allen is the guy, to ignore the fact that there are things that are happening that don't make sense, and that there is no restitution for the errors that have been made on the state, I think that you would understand more where some of us are coming from. But, some people don't care. They're just like, we think he's the guy, and that's really all that matters, and the rest of you are just dumb. So, but I'll stay, if this is considered dumb, I'll stay here. I'll stay on this path. Hi, Lady Claymore. No motion has been filed by the defense complaining about the big dumb. No, but you do understand, though, that the prosecutor actually is like, we don't want, it was in the motion limiting, we don't want the defense to be able to complain about how unorganized we gave them all of our information. They're not allowed to say that in front of the jury. Hi, the royal we. Okay, so give me a mock witness list in the order you would go if you're the prosecutor to tell your case to the jury. People wouldn't even know. They'd just say Holman, Carter and Holman, Liggett. TNT's got the best notes in the game. Well, I agree. For now. I haven't got to go yet. So, we're a competitive bunch over here. Hi, Kaylee. Let's see. Okay. TNT had said something up here. I wanted to go back and find it. Send you my notes, T. I'm going to have a creator panel after the days at court to ask me questions so the most info can get out. I'm keeping a diary. Okay, that actually sounds really good. So I guess before we get more into the document side of this, I'll touch on that. My plan for the trial, as of right now, I still plan on being out there in the third week of the trial, which is like the first week-ish of November. I do not know. Obviously, there's not a ton of seats in this place, but I'm going to do my best to get into the trial if I am there. As of right now, I'm still going. But for the opposite days or the opposing days, or if I'm not there, or if I end up not going for some reason, my plan is to do what I call like a creator crawl. If we don't have somebody who was in court that day to come up and tell us or share their notes with us. So that's where we're kind of at. So I do have a few people that I know that are going to be trying to get into the courtroom also. And they have said if they are able to get into the courtroom on the other days that they'd be happy to come up and share, what their notes from the day with us and go through it. So if we don't have anybody from that, I figure we'll just do like a channel crawl and we can go over to places like a Truth and Transparency, or Bob if he ends up in, any creator who ends up in. I kind of feel like we could just kind of go and listen to their notes, and we can take our own notes from that. So I I do plan on doing a daily live, regardless of the fact whether I'm in or not in the actual trial myself. I do want to do that for the beginning. So starting Monday, that is my plan, is to do a daily live of a recap of whatever we can find, either from the news clips or, because here's the thing, I'm going to be watching them all anyway. So I plan on watching, I might as well just watch them with you. But if we do have somebody who ends up in the courtroom who is willing to come on and give us the information that they hear that day, then we'll go that way. Carla, I would absolutely go to Crystal Rogers' trial. It's a case that I am very familiar with. Are you talking, there's multiple people on trial for her as of right now. And I think they're dividing them up, last I knew. So whose trial would you want to go to? All or just... let's see. Richard Allen never stepped forward again when they were asked for witnesses to do so. He could have been a star witness. Well, I mean, he did, but he stepped forward, so I'm sure he probably just would figure. I know I would figure. I already told you what I knew. If you wanted me, then you'd come find me. That's kind of where I think of it. But I know other people think of it the opposite, like he should have come forward repetitively. I think there's about 20. I think there's about 20-ish seats for the public. Yeah, I would go, Carla, but there wouldn't even be a question. I'd be in that courtroom. Oh, Mother of Dragons, it's so hard. Wait, True Grit Crime got in an accident? I hope that obviously she's okay if we're supporting, but that sounds pretty bad. Totaled her car? All right, well, I'm going to have to, I'll send her an email. Miranda's in the hospital? Holy shit. What? Okay, well, I'll message her too. Like, what the hell is going on? Whew. I'm just reading comments to see what I was missing. Well, not according to Judge Gold, they're not. They shouldn't be recognized press, and she doesn't actually work for any type of legitimate agency, but you never know. The family would probably invite them in. If you guys aren't aware, the Murder Sheet is actually has announced that they are writing a book. They are writing a book, you guys. Everybody make sure to jump on in. Get that book. They should be banned. True Grit Crime totaled her car. She can't get it repaired before the trial, but does have a private donation fund if anyone wants to help throw a few bucks in to help her rent transport. The insurance company won't give her a rental? I don't know. I mean, that's just out here. Well, we know that they didn't get 2 passes that one time. Was it for... Shit, was that the Supreme Court one? One of them had to sit outside. And I think Kevin went in and they... And I think one sat outside. But yeah, I digress. Anyway, let's get on with the more important stuff, because I can tell you right now, they are not important. But the whole point of that conversation was because they say they're writing it to, and to support and share the love for the Patties and the Williams. Like, I'm pretty sure Susan Hendricks already put that book out. So, all right, let me see. Where were we going? Comic book deal. Hey, Truth Seeker. Hey, Seven. Hi, Holy Shnikes. Yeah, just a bloke. I highly doubt that. Okay, so where were we going to start? Let's go to... go to the filings and see. I'm trying to think of like, we have, okay, so they did, I downloaded these. I didn't open them though. So let's do that. The defense did request a few transfers of prisoners. And I wanted to ask you guys, because I had not had a chance to double check my own info. This one, James Haas, was he not? Okay, we know this guy, right? Like, was he Logan's cellmate? Somebody needs to refresh my memory, because I was like, shit, I need to go verify how I know this name. Somebody, and I feared, like, I'm like, oh, whatever. One of you guys will tell me. Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's why I was like, this is not a new name for us. Like, we know this name, and I just could not place it. So they have a few that they have requested for transports from IDOC to come in. So James Haas is one of them. And I was like, I swear he's the one that was the roommate. Kathy speaks, goals, gags, people with bullshit. Yeah. Hey, ticking time bomb. Yeah, not only is the trial not televised, they hardly have any room for the public. Yep. Hold on, you guys. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we have this one. We have, and if there's a document that I don't end up covering, or you guys think is important that I need to go back and look at, let me know. This one I thought was really interesting, that the defense is requesting for Keegan Kline to be transported as a witness. So what was your guys' initial reaction to when you guys saw that the defense wants Keegan Kline there? What did you guys think? Ron Logan's cellmate. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I just wasn't sure. Hey, Miku's headphones. Yeah, for someone. A lot of people have speculated that. Like, how far into this is she? Because it just her not reprimanding things that should have been reprimanded, and just letting things slide, and then trying to actually boot the defense team unconstitutionally. It's a legal nightmare. Even if the criminals who are going to testify did bad things, they are still humans. Reminder, also, Indiana doesn't seem to care about actual evidence. Ain't that the truth? Truth Transfer's like, I love it. Hey, Ben. That's okay, Ben. I've been away for a couple of weeks myself, and so we're trying to catch up. So you're in it with me. We're doing it together. Hey, Carrie. Do you think they are going to show how they point the blame at all sorts of people, and now it's on RA? My opinion, and that's literally all it is, so everybody can take it or leave it. My opinion is they're going to attack the investigation. They're going to attack the timeline, to very normal strategies for a defense team, and they are going to do everything they can to opening the door to any type of third-party culpability. Or getting the prosecution witnesses to open the door to any third-party culpability. So that is my opinion of what the defense strategy is going to be. So pulling a Keegan Kline, who also confessed, that's a very big deal. I think people kind of pass that off a little bit, but he confessed, and guess what? They say his confession was proved to be false. So that's a very important point to put in front of a jury, in my opinion. So if you a jury can see, hey, this person lies about saying they did something, that also means that other people lie about it. James Haas, the reason I wanted to talk about these two in particular. So many have heard for a very long time that Ron Logan had confessed to his cellmate, and that the cellmate had come forward and said that Ron Logan was talking about what happened with Abby in his cell, and he overheard him. So you have now multiple people that confessed, multiple people that the state was pushing to make sure were quote unquote guilty. And I think that would be a very ideal way to attack it, is by bringing these two people in specifically. Show a jury, here are people who you're saying didn't have to do with it, that the state is saying didn't have to do with it, yet here they confessed. Especially because I am of the opinion, and I will be until I'm proven wrong in the next few weeks, I am of the opinion that the state does not have any other evidence that we are not aware of against Richard Allen. So I believe that the public is really aware of everything that they have, and I don't think it's enough. So I think that the state is counting on these confessions or admissions or whatever you want to say that they are. They're counting on them to sway the jury into the fact, obviously, if he says he did it, he must have. He must be the right guy. Well, now the defense says, hey, we've got these other guys who are saying they did it, and you're saying they're not the right guy. So how come one is and one isn't? So I don't think there is anything else of bombshell or like a big tie to Richard Allen. If there is, I have no problem being wrong. Good, I'll take it. I'd rather there be. Yeah, tentacles. Liberty's Truth and Justice. What's up? Catastrophe says Miku is acting out of professional capacity as a police officer, ordering the cops to arrest people now. I think I missed the comment. Scott says no, it doesn't matter if the data, they were able to check phone numbers because Keegan Klein lied. I don't know what that means. So they were able to check phone numbers. James was convicted in 2018 of a murder in Carroll County. If you're going to confess a murder, you would feel most comfortable doing it to a murderer. Yeah, that's also true. Pulled the ATF ballistics and everything to do with how Idaho State Police and FBI handled firearms in Drake's case to give us a comparison of what to expect with the ballistics experts, the tests. Well, the state doesn't even really, the person that they're stating is their expert isn't an expert. She's just the person who ran the tests. So I guess, they're considering her an expert, but they better have somebody else that can come in, because I don't think she's going to be enough. In tool marks. Could some of these inmates be witnesses to the abuse at Westville? I didn't really pay too much attention to the other two, so maybe somebody in chat does know. The other two are, hey, that was Chadwell. Why did I not even notice that? Holy shit. I missed that. They're pulling in Chadwell too? Jesus fuck. I hope you're right, Scott, but I don't know that to be true. We don't know that yet as the public. We only have speculations. This is the one I don't know who this is. Who is this one? Richie Davis Jr. Does anybody know who that one is? I did not look into this one. And I totally missed it. Well, how the fuck did I miss that? Chadwell may need to explain his tattoos. He's the one who has the tattoo of the girl who looks like she's crying, but a lot of people thought it looked just like Libby. And then they went back and forth with the ex-girlfriend on whether he had that tattoo prior to the murders or after. Hi, Bob. I was just talking about you a little bit ago. We don't have the list of the witnesses, but we do have the information that we know that they did send them back and forth. But they did exchange all of their exhibits and witness lists. But we know through just filings on specific certain witnesses that they have talked about. He's a meth dealer. Yeah, I don't know who Richie Davis is. This is not somebody I'm familiar with. So I'm trying to see in chat if any of you guys. I'd never heard of Richie. I did not look into this one. So Richie has lawsuits against Westville. Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Is it Rico? It looks like it's Richie. It's Ricky? Can't be Rico. It's Richie. R-I-C-C-I Davis. Hey, Veronica. For withholding his inhaler. Hey, Travis. Are they going to have the finder of the bullet testify? They should. If they're going to go through chain of custody, unless they're going to come to an agreement on chain of custody beforehand, which they can, and they can just stipulate so that the chain of custody was in, and they don't have to have 7 witnesses come forward and say how they collected each piece. They can just stipulate to the that's what was done. Are we getting Bob to cover voir dire? So that's a great question. Bob, are you planning on going to jury selection? I've been kind of MIA for a couple weeks, so I may have missed if you said that you are. I am curious about. So Lana said she's going to go. She's going to go and cover. She's going to go cover jury selection. Dealing meth within 1,000 feet of a youth institution. They found precursor chemicals, and it's like 997 feet in a straight line. Where at, though, DB? I'd have to go back and look and see what they said about how much media is allowed. But Judge Gold does not consider podcast media. So I don't know if they're going to meet her credentials that she has set forth. Defense Diary says, I'm vacillating. I think it would be interesting to hear what they end up with, and knowing the background of the jurors that we do end up having on the panel. I think a very small amount of non-legacy media are getting in. Interesting. Okay. I think so too. I think people are going to be very lucky to get in. I think that that's why I said we're going to do our best, and we're going to go. We'll do panel hopping if we need to. Okay, so interesting that they're bringing in 3 of the main suspects. Hi, Indy Cindy. They don't even know what day the girls died, let alone the time. It takes a village to cover Delphi. It does. I was saying earlier, I was very much looking forward to this trial to have the answers. Maybe it wouldn't be all the answers, but to have a better understanding of what each side believes happened that day and what the jurors think of it. But I don't feel like at the end of this that we're going to have the information that's going to put the case to rest. I don't feel like that anymore. And I used to feel like that, or at least I used to hope that. And I just don't anymore now. So I have my Nancy Grace pop-up table if I don't get in. Nancy Grace uses just her little white table outside of the Idaho house. Like, hey, anybody? Okay, let's see. So this one is from October 7th. This is the defendant's response to the state's motion in limine regarding Tobin, which is still, I know that like Travis had said he does think that maybe there was a mistake, like a typo on the payment. And according to this, they don't fight back and say, you know, the defense isn't saying, hey, Nick, you did pay this guy to begin with. So maybe Travis had a point there. You know, sometimes he's right. I have to give it to him. But they don't say like, hey, you guys already paid him. So, but this is their response. So the state, we've talked about this on the last live. I know it's been a little while, but the state wants to keep out the testimony of William A. Tobin, who is the I never say this right, metallurgist. He's the expert in metallurgy. It's fucking ridiculous name. I can't even, it's like does not roll off the tongue at all. So the state put in saying, hey, we don't think this guy has anything to offer and he should not be an expert and should not be able to testify. They have an expert for ballistics and tool marking, and we have ours being the person who performed the test, and those are the only two people that we need, and that's it. So this is now the defense's response. You guys, yeah, don't do anything. Don't fight with each other. I don't care if anybody has a different opinion. I don't care if people think that he's guilty. I just don't. I don't. So don't make it a fight, because it's just, honestly, in the end, it's just not worth it, because nobody here, we don't have the answer yet. We don't have the answer yet. One thing that I think that hopefully we all agree on is the fact that he is innocent right now until he is proven guilty in a court of law. So let's just go with that. So I don't, yeah, everybody just chill. So, and a lot of people on both sides think they know a lot of things that nobody really actually knows. So it's not that's not a one side or the other. There's people who just think we know everything, right? It is what it is. So comes now the defendant, Richard Allen. So this is their response to the state motioning to exclude the testimony of William A. Tobin. Mr. Tobin is a 27-year veteran. I know, Bob. Don't put me down the darkened rabbit hole any more than I've already put myself there. I know, I feel it. I feel like this. I know I feel it, and I hate it. He's a 27-year veteran of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, with 24 years of experience at the FBI laboratory and an expert in forensic metallurgy. The Indiana Rules of Evidence provides that an individual may be qualified as an expert and testify to matters so long as it helps the trier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact at issue. Remember, we talked about this in the trials. The trier of fact is the jury. They're the ones who get to determine the fact. The judge is the trier of law. To understand the evidence to determine a fact or an issue, Mr. Tobin's expertise and testimony will assist the trier of fact in judging the credibility of the processes and protocol used in the discipline of firearms identification for the following reasons. My opinion, once again, just my opinion, you can take it, leave it, throw it away. I think the jury should hear. I think the jury should hear from Tobin. I think the jury, if the state's biggest piece of evidence is this unspent round with these tool marks that match to Richard Allen's gun, then guess what? He has the right to defend himself against the evidence. That is his constitutional right. So to say that he shouldn't be able to testify is just ridiculous. So he has a bachelor's degree, which is a hard science that is intimately connected with the process of tool mark identification. Mr. Tobin has an academic background in statistics, which is also pertinent to the process through which firearm examiners draw their conclusions. Mr. Tobin was previously employed with the FBI for 27 years and worked in a laboratory for 24 of them. Forensic metallurgy is an expertise that is part and parcel. When I read this, I was like, that's fucking Bob right there. Bob always says that, part and parcel to the skill of tool mark identification. Mr. Tobin has testified as an expert witness on more than 200 occasions in courtrooms throughout the United States. Mr. Tobin's work and opinions were recently cited in the case of Arbacraw versus State. The High Court in Maryland ultimately vacated the convictions and remanded the case for a new trial. This is the kind of stuff that if you think Richard Allen is guilty, that's fine. Think he's guilty, but don't ignore things like this. Don't ignore the fact that this man has much more experience dealing with the tool mark evidence than Oberg does from the prosecutor's side. And just say, well, the state doesn't want him to testify, so that's how it should go. Like, that's just not how it should work. The court's decision was driven in part by the defense's assertion that the underlying process of the firearms identification is flawed, which is becoming a huge thing in almost every trial that has anything to do with ballistics and tool mark evidence. They're essentially coming down to saying that this is not going to be science that's going to be allowed in a courtroom anymore. Bob would say, attack the timeline and ignore the Tobin motion. I think attacking the timeline is evident at this point, but I don't think you can ignore Tobin, because I think that that's the biggest part that they have. You know, that's the biggest piece of quote unquote evidence. And like I tell you guys, you can't ignore the information from either side. And this is what they're using. The state is using to say he is the right guy. His gun matches the unspent round. That's the biggest piece of evidence that they used to get Richard Allen put behind bars. So you can't ignore that they have it. We just have to understand it and know what. Can you list me your order of state witness? Oh, you want me to do it? You want me to do it? Oh. They have to address the round in the confessions, and I think that's the filings we're seeing. I agree, Bob. Love the intro. An actual video of Richard Allen, and there's a witness that saw him on the first platform. So weird that Richard Allen didn't see the killer. Well, I disagree with your assertion there, and you're saying things that are not actual fact. So, but I understand why you think they are, but they're not. So, you want me to list my order of the state witnesses? My order of the state witnesses. Okay, let me think about it for a second. I probably first put on. I might start with Kelsey. And Derek. Those would probably be my first two. That's who I'd probably start with. And then I would go into probably the officer that was at the north side of or south side of Freedom Bridge, north side of Monon High Bridge. I would start with him, that he'd be the first one to get the report. So that would be right there. Those would be my first. I'd go with Kelsey, Derek, and the officer that was at the bridge. And then I'd go through the timeline. And that's where the defense has to come in and attack the timeline and show that their timeline was wrong. Okay, so let me see. The state's medical examiner, Oberg, is nothing more than... This is definitely a Rosie motion right here. This is how Rosie writes. The state's examiner, Melissa Oberg, is nothing more than a lab technician. Well, he's not wrong, but he's like, come on, like, give me a break. She's not a fucking expert, Nick. While she has received training in the discipline of firearms examination, anyone with a high school degree could do the same. The state of Indiana references Dr. Eric Warren, who is the expert in the firearms identification. So Dr. Warren has been retained by the defense in this case, and the state in its motion to eliminate attempts to compare Dr. Warren's expertise with that of Miss Oberg by pointing out that the two of them are both members of the AFTE, which is not the qualifier as an expert, just FYI. The comparisons stop here. Dr. Warren has a PhD in biological sciences and is a current AFTE board member. The state took Dr. Warren's deposition on October 3rd. During Dr. Warren's deposition, Dr. Warren acknowledged that an academic background in metallurgy, a hard science, would be helpful in understanding the process of firearms identification. Dr. Warren testified that the background and statistics would be helpful in understanding the process of firearms identification, specifically noting that he anticipates changes and advances in the field which will be driven by new statistical approaches to summarizing the findings of any particular examination. Dr. Warren testified that the critical community within which Mr. Tobin associates has been helpful in moving the firearms identification forward by pushing for new and better processes. We wouldn't want that now, would we? Dr. Warren testified that there does exist a healthy debate in the industry as to whether or not the findings of firearm examiners should be inadmissible in courtrooms across the country. And in fact, there is a movement toward examiners being less definitive about their conclusions in the courtroom settings. Yeah, she doesn't even work there anymore. She left the whole shebang. But she was at the time. Mr. Tobin's testimony is relevant for the following reasons. The President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology has been critical for many years of the methodology employed by toolmark examiners. This is all fact. This isn't shit that's made up from the defense team, and this is why I implore you not to ignore it. This isn't just a Richard Allen thing. This is a very big deal in a lot of court proceedings and past court proceedings where ballistics and toolmark evidence was imperative to convict the perpetrator or the wrongfully convicted. So this isn't new. This has been a big deal. It's not going away, and it's going to play a role in a lot of cases. So if you are somebody who doesn't just want to follow the Delphi case, these are things you have to pay attention to. It was a good start. It was a good start. I'll think on it and I'll make a list. I'll go with you. I'll do it for you. I'll do it with you. No, I just want it to be the right person, Scott. I really just want it to be the guy who committed the crimes or the multiple people who committed the crimes. Whoever did it, I just want it to be the right person, and I want it to be done correctly. I just want it to be the right person. If that is Richard Allen, then let it be. Criminal Network. Shark Week isn't until like July. I don't know what you're talking about. And no, on the other side of that coin. Mr. Tobin is intimately I'm really frustrated with this case, and I don't know any other way to go around just wanting people to look at everything and stop just looking at things very one-sided. There's so much to this that people are ignoring for the simple purpose of it just fitting one side or the other, and it just doesn't. And it's so frustrating to me. So Mr. Tobin is intimately familiar with the findings in both PCAST and NAS as it relates to the discipline of firearms identification, the concept of understanding a process which generates any result, whether it be in a laboratory setting or in the course of one's daily activities, is relevant to understanding the meaning of the result or the final product created by the employed process. Simply put, Mr. Tobin's testimony tends to prove that the process of examining firearms and drawing conclusions from those examinations is unreliable and misleading, and therefore the conclusions offered up by the state examiner should be given little to no weight. Mr. Tobin's opinion on these matters is relevant to the credibility of the state's lab technician who examined the evidence in this case. So that they're told, the juries are told, you know, the experts have an opinion. It's an expert opinion. That's what it is. It's literally an opinion, and they are to take it and put their own weight on it. Remember, they are the trier of fact. They're the ones who are in the position to determine what is accurate, what they believe, what they don't believe. It's not all of us that sit here on social media, not all of us that are on a YouTube channel or chat in YouTube channels. We're not the ones who are going to get to decide that in the end. So our opinions in the long run of this are just that. They're just our opinions, and they're not going to impact what the jury thinks and feels about the information that's presented to them. But they should have the right to have all of the fucking information. All of it. Finally, the state cites the case of State of Indiana versus Caden Smith. This is a trial court case out of Marion County, Indiana, which is currently up on appeal. The court's order in Smith provides very little rationale for the court's decision to exclude Mr. Tobin's testimony regarding the firearms examination process. To the extent that the state wants to offer up trial court level authority to support its claim, defendant Allen would draw the court's attention to the case of the people of the state of Illinois versus Ricky Winfield, a circuit court case out of Cook County. This will piss off Gull, because you know that she fucking hates when they pull out cases from other states. The problem with that is the cases in Indiana are so fucked. And they are. A lot of the cases that the state tries to use are up in on the appellate side, but they thought it would be funny because this was what's his name's what is Travis calling the lead pipe. This was Hennessy's case, so they're like, oh, we're gonna use that because Hennessy wanted to use Tobin before. Yeah, Hennessy is a extremely seasoned defense attorney. So he wants to use an expert in a case, and then he tells somebody else to use the same expert because the guy worked for the FBI for 27 years. So, and this goes back to the whole thing of, people who are very pro-guilt are like, well, we trust law enforcement. No, it's not you don't just trust law enforcement, you trust the unified command, and that's the specific people I don't trust. So if you trust law enforcement, then you have an FBI, a gentleman here who worked for the FBI who wants to testify and say that this is garbage, that this science is garbage. But we ignore his 27 years with the FBI because it doesn't fit what we want him to. No, I don't want to let him off like Casey Anthony. I don't. I think Casey Anthony's guilty, but legally, she's not. She's just a piece of shit. So Judge Gold won't like that they're pulling a case from Illinois. She wants them to use Indiana stuff. So the Winfield decision was handed down on February 8th, 2023. The court in Winfield was critical of the discipline of firearms identification altogether, which is kind of the whole point, is that most courts are now. They're understanding that this is not the science that everybody used to think it was. Hi, S. The court ultimately drew the conclusion that the state was entirely prohibited from introducing any testimony from their alleged experts regarding firearms identification specific to that case. Judge Hook's rationale was articulated over in a 41-page opinion. The Smith case offered by the state contains no such analysis. So, like I said, but Gold will like it because this is an Indiana case for her to go off of versus an Illinois case. So it is what it is. She doesn't cite any law ever. No, she just, because she's just like, Nick, you cite the law and I'll just agree with you, okay? I don't trust her. And so I think that, I tell you guys this all the time, this comes down to trust. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I don't trust that they're doing things correctly. I don't think that they're doing things legally. I don't. So you can think he's guilty, and that's fine, but don't ignore that it needs to be done the right way. And if you think it is the right way, then you really got to pay attention to a lot of other cases, because you'll see that there's a big difference in how things are handled. So on with that. So we still haven't heard anything back from her on that, of course. So it's probably just something else that she's going to decide upon the hearings. That I would say that they're probably going to go through jury selection a couple of times. Or a couple of days, and then they're also going to have these hearings because we also have the shit. There was another damn motion that I wanted to talk about that we'd already gone over. What was the other motion that she's going to talk about that she's going to wait until the trial, right? Wait until the trial. Somebody fucking remind me. My brain is on the fritz. There's another motion that she was like, hey, we'll deal with this come the time. And I don't remember what it is now off the top of my head. DB says, I have the motion in limine for Tobin in the Caden Smith case. They didn't allow Tobin for a completely different reason than Nick is asking for. I think that's kind of what they're citing, too. We haven't even got to touch on Todd fucking Click. That's just a whole nother... That's a whole nother clusterfuck. I'm not even getting into the Todd Click stuff today. I'll touch on it, but if Todd Click did what he's accused of, then that sucks. But I think anybody with any realm of intelligence will question the timing and the motive behind any type of investigation into Todd Click, unless you just don't care and you think it's just funny that it just so happened at the same time. But I can't have that conversation because then I'm going to get really pissed off, and I don't want to do that. This is a simple one. They're essentially just asking for Max Baker, who, if you guys all remember, he was the young guy. They want Max Baker to be able to actually help with them in accessing discovery and doing things for the defense team during trial. I've seen cases where they allow people to come in and help like this, and then I've seen cases where the judge is like, fuck no, you guys have to figure it all out yourselves. So I don't, it'll be whatever it is. Whatever she decides. If it benefits the defense, I'm sure it'll get denied. Or if it's something little like this, she may do it anyway. Okay, so now we have a motion in limine that was drawn up. This is the one that came out today, so we're back into today's filings. Now we're finally caught up. Is there anything from before that you guys think that I missed that I need to touch on in filings? Did I miss anything up to today that you guys think I need to touch on for filings before I move on? I'm gonna give it a second, because as you guys know, that's another thing that kind of is so frustrating with StreamYard, is that the chat is delayed compared to what I'm asking. So I'm gonna give you guys just a second. Anything that you want to talk about before we move to today's filings? As of right now, I am coming to Indiana in November. That might change. There's a slim chance that it changes, but as of right now, that's what I'm doing. Hi, All Eyes. I saw you up above, and I didn't get a chance to say hi to you because I was reading. There's no evidence BG actually had a gun. Only investigators believe they heard one by being cycled and audio, but state doesn't even explain how it ended up on the other side of the creek in the dirt. Correct. They also, there was the one that they believe they heard the word gun. So then, and that's also going to be something open to interpretation if they play this audio that has now been filtered through a lot. Special Agent Lepper is the same guy that investigated in Warden Gallipo. I want to touch on Gallipo too for just a second. It's not an exclusive attack on one aspect of the prosecution. No, it's going to have to be an overall. They won't just go in with one thing. Of who is who, the who's who in the Delphi case, check out the Prezi. It's also linked in the description. When I'm yelling attack the timeline, I'm talking to Brad and Andy. Yes. Do I think the defense has a wild card? No, I think that I don't think that they have like a huge, I don't think either side has a huge bombshell that we're going to go, holy shit. I don't think so. I think that it's going to be both sides very strategic and minute details. I don't think we're going to see anything huge that we don't already know about. They also believe Ari parked somewhere entirely different than he said he parked, but didn't do any police work to find out, literally just made a creative decision. They did a lot of that. I hope that MS attends Gallipo's trial too. Chelsea, what is this timeline you all speak of? The everything was done by 3:30 timeline. Or technically, if you go with what the state is now saying too, that the person on 300 North at 3:57 p.m. would also be included in that. I agree with you. But I think now, not now, I would say the last couple of hearings, I think we started to see them attacking the timeline. I agree with you. I think the timeline's huge. I've always believed that. 3 guys dressed the same way. They were there right in the area where the 2 girls were murdered. Huge. Okay, hold on. Let me reread this, Scott. 3 guys dressed the same way. They were right there in the area where 2 girls were murdered. Huge difference. You might be talking to somebody in chat, so I don't know if that's even for me. Click isn't going to be a problem if called by the defense. State can't impeach with an arrest. Defense can eliminate that out. They also have an alternative detective who can cover much of it. Yeah, they have Murphy, and Murphy's the one who testified at the 3-day hearing. But the whole thing with Click is, so the state already put in the motion in limine that the defense can't go around talking about people's past, but then it's kind of a quirky situation. But I don't know. So people also, when people testify at these hearings, don't just assume that they're going to be testifying at the trial. Sometimes what's being testified at the hearing is to prove the point of what the motion at the hearing is. It's not necessarily that they even need them for trial, because what they're trying to do is to hold whatever aspect accountable in the motion that they're actually having the hearing for. So not everybody, not even everybody who testifies is going to be like testifying at the trial. And then you're going to have other people who you've never even heard of that are going to be testifying at the trial. So, I mean, if you think about it, Nick put on a blood spatter expert instead of an Odin expert, but yet he has an Odin expert. So, you know, when they're talking about the whole third party stuff, he puts on a blood spatter guy. Yeah, I don't think that any of them would be testifying anyway. I think they're going to be able to. They should be able to. And from what we hear about these attorneys, they're supposedly very good at their jobs. They should be able to do a lot of it through the state's witnesses themselves. Alan described himself. The group of girls described him. The woman walking her dog. Hello. There was no woman walking her dog. That was a lie that was made up by somebody who came out and said that they did say it was a lie, and they never actually, there was no woman walking a dog. There was a man who was walking his dog that we do know, and there was a group of 3 girls, and then there was a group of 4 girls, and we don't know what Richard Allen said. We only know what the state is trying to tell us Richard Allen said. So just remember that. Until we hear what Richard Allen actually said, we don't know what he said. We also know that the state tried to tell us that Sarah Carbaugh saw a man that was muddy and bloody and with a blue jacket. And then come to find out on the other side, supposedly, that's not what was said. So who do you believe? That comes down to the trust of it all, right? So until we actually hear the testimony of these people, if we hear the testimony of these people, or hear of it, I should say, because we're not going to get to fucking hear it, just remember, we don't know that those things are necessarily true on any part until we hear it, until we know, until they play the interview of Richard Allen saying, yes, I saw this group of 4 girls. This is what they look like. Until we see this group of 4 girls that says, yeah, I picked out Richard Allen from a lineup, and that's the guy that I saw, and not just trying to compare him to the guy in the video. We don't have those pieces yet. So it's okay to have your thoughts and your gut feelings and your thought processes towards what you believe, but just remember, we don't have it yet. You want to believe it, that's fine, but we don't actually have it. So the defense now files a motion in limine. So we're going to go to this is all the stuff from today now. The defendant has been charged with 2 separate counts of felony murder. Defendant Allen has reason to believe that the state of Indiana may seek to admit at the trial of this cause testimony from various prison guards, inmates, law enforcement officers, and possibly the testimony of other IDOC staff members as to defendant Allen's mental state during his detention at the Westville Correctional Facility and Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. The defense believes that the state's offering of said testimony will be driven by their desire to use said guards, inmates, administrators, and law enforcement officers to establish the veracity of alleged incriminating statements made by defendant Allen. Okay, we all know that's exactly what they're doing. The specific individuals have been identified on both the state's witness list and the defense's witness list, which were exchanged between the parties prior to the filing of this motion. The defense desires not to list each and every witness in this motion, so as to maintain some confidentiality, taking into consideration the public interest in this case and the forthcoming trial. The defense will offer up the names of said witnesses at a hearing on this motion upon the request by the court, whichever applies. Defendant Allen believes that such testimony would violate Rule 701 of the Indiana Rules of Evidence. The witnesses do not have sufficient life experiences that would permit making a judgment as to the mental state of defendant Allen on the dates and times in question, or any date and time before or after Richard Allen's arrest. The said testimony would violate Rule 702 of the Indiana Rules of Evidence, as the prison guards, inmates, law enforcement officials, and some of the administrators have no expertise in the field of mental health and therefore are not qualified to draw such conclusions. Said testimony violates 704 of the Indiana Rules of Evidence, as the testimony amounts to the witnesses drawing an opinion on an ultimate issue, i.e., whether or not the witness believes that defendant Allen is guilty of the charged allegations. Finally, said testimony would also violate Rule 403 of the Indiana Rules of Evidence, as it tends to be confusing and misleading to the jury due to the lack of expertise in the field of mental health with regard to any of the referenced witnesses. Such evidence is not necessary for a full and fair determination of the facts in this cause. So essentially, what Rosie's saying is, hey, you have these other quote-unquote witnesses that are, qualified as experts or mental health professionals to testify. We do not need to hear from the common folk and what they think whether Richard Allen was under some type of mental duress or not, because they don't have the expertise or the experience with it to say that they would know. Now, I have seen something along these lines when the witness, like being a law enforcement, like the prison guards who have to deal with people who do have, diagnosed mental illness. I've seen it with law enforcement, law enforcement officers who've testified in dealing with people who've had that type of experience. They may not have the expertise, but sometimes the judges say, no, it's not relevant. And sometimes the judges say, hey, this person does have experience, and they can just speak from their own experience. And then the jury can make the determination whether it was important, whether it's important to them or not. You know what I mean? Oh, Cynthia. So, once again, just another thing that she'll have to determine whether she thinks that these people can or can't say it, or she just limits what they will or will not be able to say. Like, hey, yeah, they can say from their experience, and then the defense can come in and be like, okay, how many times have you arrested a person? And this is just an example. How many times have you arrested a person? And they'll be like, I don't know, thousands. And then the defense would be like something along the lines of, okay, out of all of those people, how many of them had a diagnosed mental health issue that you were aware of, so that you would know? You know what I mean? Like they would just be able to go down through that. This motion is over lay opinion. Lay opinion does allow a little bit on mental state, like angry or sad, but not like psychotic. That makes sense. Hey, Firecracker. Yeah, we've heard a lot of opinions on that. People have speculated that the guy's part is a different person than the other voice of the Down the Hill. People have also speculated that that audio from its original form doesn't actually sound anything like that, and that they don't think it says Down the Hill at all. I don't want to say which parent or grandparent it was, because I don't remember the interview off the top of my head which person it was, but I remember one of the family members saying that the cops like were like, hey, this is what we hear, and they were like, we listened to it and that's not what we heard, until it was cleaned up. So, you know, kind of is what it is. Hi, Dom. And then I think it was, oh shit, was it Mullen? Who was it? I think it was Mullen actually who did, and somebody will correct me because they'll probably know if I'm right or wrong. It may have been the other guy doing that Indiana Road show, and he said that he could not verify that the person in the video was even the same person who did talk, and that the person who, and then they later said that they could not verify that the voices were the same person. So, well, it'll be interesting to see what they pull out at trial, saying, you know, they're just going to have Holman testify and say everything that we, you know, everything that happened belonged to one person, and I've always believed it belonged to one person. Or are they going to actually have somebody who's an expert and comes out and tells us, like, this is the audio and this is how it works? Hey, Dan, good to see you. Indy City says, EF Sis said her brother tried to give her a blue jacket before anyone even knew what the BG was wearing. Yep. Yep. Nexus does not mean you've solved the crime. Well, I think that's what Nick wanted him to do, though. No, Bob? He was like, they don't have any DNA matching any of these third-party suspects, so there's no nexus. Doesn't no time of death make a lot of reasonable doubt for all around girls without video, audio, or GPS proof? There's a lot of talk about this time of death, but we haven't heard from the medical examiner yet, and so I kind of want to wait to hear what they have to say about, or, you know, from my understanding, there's no concrete time of death, but the death certificates do say 4 p.m. So that's not the autopsy. We haven't seen the stuff from the autopsy. And then there was some discussion, I think it was on R&M's channel, they were talking about, you know, the banana pancakes and what time the banana pancakes were, and then, you know, if those would even be still in the stomach, even if the crime is in the 2:30 to 3:30 time frame. And I don't know enough about it to be able to say, I don't know enough about it just to be able to say whether that would still be in their stomach or not. I don't have that expertise to be able to share that with you. Teresa, what's up? Exactly as they should have been to begin with at Lee. In any case, family is looked at first. This has been one huge cover-up from day one. Yeah, there's something funky about the whole geo-fencing thing. That's always been, it's a point of contention. Digital says this chat. I can't read that back. I'm missing so many comments. I have no idea. Don't stress, Dom. He said, I think he said 3:30. I think he said 3:30 it was over. Let's go look. Wrong one. Wonder I can't find it. So he says, right here, coroner's report stated that everything was over by 3:30. So, all right. Let's go back over here and see what else we got today. Well, don't we? This is a good question, but don't they typically take, you know, when it comes to that, they go with what the investigation also says too. Like they don't just do it on their own, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole thing, is that they supposedly have to take like all the factors in. And from what was it, fucking Holman? Who was it that testified about? I think it was Holman. It might have been Liggett, but it was one of those guys. Testified that they were focusing everything off of the time of death based around the cell phone usage. Hey, Judge Jessica. Hey, Caitlin. The time has changed constantly. It wasn't what was originally said. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Dr. Phil asked Carter about the time of death, and he replied, we were given a 4-hour window. So they were given a 4-hour window. That's interesting. It says going to challenge time of death. Wonder if they can challenge the route. Do the state of the clothes show for certain they crossed the creek? Kelsey had all of Libby's passwords. Oh, let's see. I'm not going to read the rest of that part. Not that I disagree or agree, but hammy. Well, I mean, the original timeline definitely was different because they said that they were dropped off at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we find out they weren't dropped off until like 1:50. See, that's a Floby haircut. Side note, we had a Floby when I was younger, and I gave my dog a haircut with it. Good times. Poor dog. I think the spot that I got was like bald forever. But it is what it is. Okay. So we have the verified motion for a certificate of appearance regarding an out-of-state witness. The FBI site says they were still dropped off. This still says they were dropped off at 1 p.m. Well, the FBI came forward and said they will not touch anything on their website without the authority of the Unified Command, because the Unified Command was the one that was in charge. And so when they tried to talk, somebody had messaged them or on Twitter about why they hadn't changed something else about, I think it was the height or the weight, or it was something else. I don't remember what it was now. And they said, no, that we won't change it because we've not been given the direction to change it. So we leave it the way that it is. I think I'm just going to keep reading over here, and you guys just be nice to each other. That's really all that's all I want. Just be nice to each other. I don't think they want to contact the FBI about anything. I think once Carter told them to go, they were just like, they never wanted to talk to the FBI again. And as we can tell, we had an FBI task force that was looking into Odinism and this crew of people that the state obviously did not want them looking into. Will Libby's dad have to testify? We haven't heard from him, really. We have not really heard from him, but I believe he'll testify. My mods do kick ass. I have some kick ass mods. Hey, Tammy. Right. What did Criminal Network say? Hold on. I would show up to court, but I am allergic to Indiana. I break out in handcuffs and restraining orders. Oh, that sounds like Sleuthy. Sleuthy's like, I'm never fucking going to Indiana. No, you're not. You've been good. I've seen you. You're not even doing your fun troll. I appreciate you though. Is he on the witness list? We don't have the witness list, but I think that he would be. I think that he's the one he's gonna have to. Him and Kelsey are the ones who are gonna have to establish the timeline of how the girls and when the girls got there. It's a big fish. Okay, so this is the verified motion for a certificate of an appearance regarding an out-of-state witness. This is from Brad Rosie, counsel for Richard Allen. The appearance under the seal of the court directing material witness Dr. Monica Walla. We all know who she is, right? Everybody remember? Love you, Bob. Thank you for coming by. I miss you. You know, it's been like we just had our 1 year anniversary, me and Bob did. When he came on my show for the first time. It's been a year. It's been a hell of a year. So this is Dr. Monica Walla. I think everybody's familiar with who Walla is. So for her to appear and to testify at the jury trial in this cause in support of said motion, Attorney Rosie swears and affirms as follows. Number one, the jury trial in this matter is set to commence on Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m., in which time jury selection will commence. Dom, no, this trial is not being televised unless she makes a last-minute switcheroo like they just did in Leilani Simon's case, which, I mean, I don't know how much hope you really want to put into it, but you're welcome to. Other than that, what we're going to try to do is we're going to have a live every day to at least go. If somebody who goes to the hearing wants to come on, they're welcome to go over their notes. Otherwise, we're going to do like a channel surfing, kind of channel hopping to see who made it in that day, and we're going to go through like their information so we can take our own notes and decipher, which is typically what we do anyway throughout the hearings that we don't have access to. And I do need to figure out if we want to do the transcripts for the trial, because I don't know. I don't even have any idea what that's going to look like as a cost, or how the future of that would look and how much longer it would take to get it after the trial is over. So we'll have to see. We'll have to play that one by ear, and we'll have to talk about that together, because that's definitely going to be a group effort thing. That's not going to be a T thing on my own. Speaking of transcripts, before I go further into this document, I did request the transcripts from the closed hearing. She has not responded to me, so we'll see. I doubt that she gives them because the hearing was closed. They'll probably be kept under wraps. But I was told too that some of the information in the exhibits will be available to the public after the trial. So I'm hoping that the news media will, front the big chunk of what the cost of that's going to be. That's kind of the hope. So we'll see. Oh, Dom, thank you. Okay, so as we all know, jury selection is starting in Allen County on Monday. By direction of the court, opening arguments will begin on Friday, October 18th. While awaiting trial. So I figure they're going to go probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, and then they'll like Wednesday, Thursday will be for like motions hearings going into the trial, just to clear up anything else that they need to do to get ready, and that and there'll be a travel day for the jury to get down to Carroll County and get set up where they need to be, and then we'll have opening statements on Friday, October 18th. So while awaiting trial, defendant Allen was detained for a period greater than 1 year in the Westville Correctional Facility Maximum Security Segregation Unit, pursuant to a safekeeping order issued by Honorable Judge Benjamin A. Diener on the 3rd day of November 2022. Pursuant to said order, custody of defendant Allen was transferred to the Indiana Department of Corrections while defendant Allen awaited trial. While at that facility, defendant Allen was assigned to a psychologist, Dr. Monica Walla, who was at the time employed by the IDOC's third-party mental health provider, Centurion. On or about July 31st of 2024, Dr. Walla remained employed at Centurion and testified at a pretrial hearing in this cause. In the days following her testimony, Dr. Walla was issued a gate disclosure by the Indiana Department of Corrections, and it is believed that Dr. Walla is no longer employed by Centurion. The defense just recently became aware of said gate disclosure and apparent termination of employment with Centurion. Centurion's legal representative, attorney Robert Brandt, did communicate to attorney Rosie via email on September 18th, 2024. Not to be confused, it was 1 year after the Franks memo dropped, that he no longer represents Dr. Walla and cannot accept service for any subpoena or other documents directed to her. Attorney Brandt further represented that he no longer represents any other party or non-party involved in this case and therefore cannot accept any service on behalf of Centurion or any other Centurion provider. So, defendant Allen's attorneys believe that, but are not certain that Dr. Walla currently resides. I'm not going to skim past that. I don't want to confirm during prior testimony that she resided in the state of Illinois. Therefore, defendant Allen desires to secure the appearance and testimony of Dr. Walla, an out-of-state witness, through the process provided for an IC-35, blah, blah, blah. Defendant Allen believes that Dr. Walla is a material witness in this case for the following reasons. Remember, so just a little history here. Dr. Walla was the one that during one of the hearings, at the very end of it, Nick told the judge, hey, I have a motion that I want to file, but I don't know how to really put it in and keep it like so it's under wraps. So I'm just wanting to just hand it to you, blah, blah, blah. And that was about allowing Dr. Walla to testify. So they wanted Dr. Walla to testify. When Dr. Walla did testify at one of the hearings, many people who were in the courtroom did think that her testimony was very favorable to Richard Allen. Now, it's interesting because here we are with the defense wanting to be the ones who make sure that she does show up to testify. So, Dr. Walla was assigned to Richard Allen as his treating psychologist while he was incarcerated at the Westville Correctional Facility for over 1 year. Dr. Walla met with Richard Allen on numerous occasions during his stay at Westville, nearly all of which were intended to address and monitor the state of Richard Allen's mental health. Nearly all of the communications between Dr. Walla and defendant Allen occurred in confidential and privileged therapeutic sessions. Yeah. So, here this is about we have the guards who are saying that they are not the guards. We have the fucking Harshman who is saying that he did hear video, which was only supposed to be audio, of Richard Allen confessing during some of these types of therapy sessions, which shouldn't have even been recorded to begin with. But nobody's really touched too much on that, and I'm very curious what's going to come out at trial about how and when was Harshman listening to what was supposedly only video, and during these confidential and privileged therapeutic sessions that he admitted to when he was on the stand, which we have Harshman's testimony saying it. Reminder, Dr. Walla's testimony was not given, it was given to the defense team, but they were not, but was not allowed to be released publicly. So we only have the information of Dr. Walla's testimony based on people who were in the courtroom and from filings about her testimony. The state intends to introduce as evidence in this trial incriminating statements made by Richard Allen while incarcerated at Westville Correctional Facility. The defendant intends to prove that incriminating statements made by defendant Allen were involuntary and resulted from the conditions surrounding his incarceration. Dr. Walla was in a position such that her medical opinion regarding his psychiatric condition is relevant to these proceedings. The defense believes that Dr. Walla's testimony will require approximately 2 full days and specifically requests that this honorable court order Dr. Walla to appear on or Monday, it should be before, on or Monday, November 11th and Tuesday, November 12th, to testify at the trial in this cause. Defendant Allen seeks a certificate of appearance from this court acknowledging Dr. Walla's materiality in this cause and specifying the number of days Dr. Walla will be required to attend the trial in this cause. Defendant Allen further requests that said order be certified under the seal of this court. Defendant Allen then intends to present such order to a court of record in Cook County, Illinois. The county and state in which Dr. Walla is believed to reside. Defendant Allen intends to utilize this process to secure her appearance at the trial. Defendant Allen intends to tender a sum for expenses equal to the amount provided under to reimburse Dr. Walla for her attendance at the trial, all fees which shall be charged upon Carroll County. Now, you guys, my opinion, I don't think Dr. Walla should be testifying at all. I don't think she's good for either side. I think the jury will, it would almost be, I don't think that she's good for testifying for either side. I just don't. They're going to demolish her on cross regardless of which side she comes up on. So if she testified for the state, the defense is going to annihilate her for the things that she did. And if she comes up for the defense, then the state is going to annihilate her for the things that she did, because she was doing things that obviously got her terminated, which we now know. And she was looking into Keegan Klein's case using the system that she wasn't allowed to. She also was testified that she believed that Richard Allen was faking his psychosis until she realized that he wasn't. She's just not a good witness. I don't think she's a good witness at all. And as much as I appreciate, her watching the channel when she was, recommending channels, she's just not a good witness. She could be a great person, but she's just not a good witness for this case. They're going to have to be very careful on how they present her, no matter which side she comes up for, because she just did a lot of shit wrong. And when you do a lot of shit wrong, you kind of lose all your credibility. So even the shit you do right doesn't really matter anymore. It could be strategic to make the state think she's coming. Maybe. The defense really needs to validate the psychosis, though. I don't know who else is going to do that. How about the doctor who's actually the one who prescribed the medication for psychosis? Kayla, I think it's pretty common, yeah. While you fake psychosis, you tend to eat your own poo. But I think that the person who is, I don't know. I just don't, I've never had a good feeling about her being a witness in this case. So. But so speaking of people who no longer are employed, there's an interesting thing that I was told about Gallipo. If you guys remember, Gallipo was changed or transferred to the juvenile facility when he testified one of the last times, saying that he, it was a lateral move, and then the defense was like, "How is that a lateral move when you had like what, a couple hundred, multiple hundred inmates, and now you're watching over 50 juvenile girls?" Well, under the, and I'm going to say it wrong, and you guys in chat are going to be like, "That's not how you say it," but I'm going to go with the French version, like Travis always tells me is my fail-safe. Like the La Porte Juvenile Correctional Facility, they have a warden named Mr. Dixon listed as their warden. They do not have Gallipo listed as their warden there anymore, as of September of this year. Has anybody else heard that? So, where the hell did Gallipo go now? Well, let me see. Pull up Jerome Durrell Robertson, plaintiff versus Dr. Walla, defendant's case about improper DX of mental status and what prisoners are entitled to. All right, let me see. John Gallipo worked there before Westville. No, he transferred from Westville to the juvenile place. When he testified at the last hearings, he was the warden at the juvenile place. And now he's not anywhere. I can't find him anywhere. It's okay, it's pronounced La Porte. I did both just for shits and giggles. Okay. Laporte. Maybe he lied about being the warden of the juvenile facility. Oh, he worked. Okay, so because I know he went back to Laporte. I didn't know he worked there before. But he's not listed there now. As of last month, it's saying that Dixon is the warden of this juvenile facility. So where the hell did Gallipo go? I'm reading your guys' comments. I'm not on mute or anything, just FYI. He's in that Tubi documentary. Somebody said that up here. The girl's incarcerated, and everyone that watched the show loved him. Well, when we went through his testimony the last time, it really just seemed like he was just he was taking orders and just didn't care to question the authority and just did whatever. And he was like, I don't know, it was above my pay grade. I don't know why that happened. That's just what they told me to do, so I did it. Do you guys pronounce Versailles as Versailles? I don't want to say it's Versailles. Better check the obituary. Shit, Tammy. That's not that should be funny, but in this case, it's like fucking true. Criminal Network, are you making that up? Peggy O? Where's Peggy O? What'd she say? I only know. What I don't know comes to light. That's true. It's a true statement. I saw someone post Warden was fired as well as Walla. Well, we know Walla was, and we know that he's not the warden of that juvenile place anymore. Criminal Network said something. You are being serious? Shit, he's the... For real? He's the fire chief in Monticello? What? That's interesting. I should probably be able to. What, another half hour? No, I'll just get something for dinner. I'll go. Yeah, I have one more doc to go through real quick, and then I should be able to get it. And then I'll pick up dinner. Just tell him to wait. Okay, sorry. Trying to figure out dinner, if he should make dinner or and pick up who's picking up the daughter from gymnastics. Okay, so we have the other one that was filed today. So let's get through this, and then I'm gonna have about a half hour left. So just FYI. Defendant's motion to incorporate evidence presented at the August 1st pretrial hearing into offer of proof at trial. And this was, Bob was kind of talking about this in chat earlier too, about the offer to prove. We just hadn't got here yet. Investigator. He's definitely not a prosecutor. He's just the investigator. Hiawatha. Stupid Papa. Shouldn't be employed in corrections anywhere as many times as he's been sued and fired. Seriously, years. But then you think they put him as like a chief of a fire department? Hey, Just a Bloke, have you shared your two theories of the case? One for Alan's guilt, the other for Alan's innocence. I haven't. Maybe we should do... Maybe I'll do a live tomorrow. Let's do a live tomorrow, and I will share both of my theories and try to walk you guys through it as best as I can without preparing something for it. How about that? You guys want to do that? Let's do that. I'm gonna make it happen. Okay, so this is the requesting for offers of proof, which is what she essentially said, like, hey, if something comes up, then I'll let you guys do that. And it's like, okay, now if they have an offer to proof, they have to kick the jury out every time that happens. And then they have to, and then they read it onto the record. But the jury, once again, is the trier of fact. So the jury doesn't get to actually hear it. But they put it on the record essentially for the appellate court. I mean, that's really what the bottom line is. It's like, hey, we have this evidence. You're not letting us say it. So we're going to go ahead and put it in. We're going to go ahead and put it here. Hey, Louise. Hi, Scarlett. Finally been waiting on this live for like months. Hold on, somebody said what? Hold on, Deborah. Let me go back to your other comment because I missed it because I started reading over here. And now I don't know what that goes with. Okay, that goes with the warden being fired too. In the same post, it strangely said investigators in New York, California, Kentucky, Texas, etc., working on an investigation that has to do with Delphi. What would any other states have to do with it? Well, there was the guy in California that I think that a lot of people thought had something to do with it. He was the computer guy. And I remember there's something about Tennessee when they made that weird post about the Tennessee thing. But that's not in your list, so I don't know. Okay, so let's get through this one, and then on his guilt and innocence. Okay, let's do it tomorrow then. Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow, and I'll just try to walk you guys through my thought process. And I don't know if I'll have time to do like a real like full presentation, but I you know, oh yeah, Stevenson's, that's Kentucky. Erskine moved to Texas. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Okay. So comes now accused Richard Allen by and through counsel and respectfully ask the court to consider this motion regarding his offer of proof. In support of this motion, the accused submits the following. A hearing was held on several motions, including the state's motion in limine in this matter on July 30th through August 1st. Update on the transcripts of that. She had told me before, hi, Jenny, I'll call you later, 867-5309. I got your number, girl. I'll talk to you soon. She had said prior that she would try to have the rest of the transcripts ready for me end of September, beginning of October. I do not have an update on that. And that's the transcripts for this hearing right here. These hearings right here, the ones that we were missing. And all the opening, closing statements per motion. So essentially everything else that was happening inside the courtroom. So during those hearings, particularly those on July 30th and August 1st, 2024, testimony was taken regarding paragraph 7 of the state's motion, which argued that evidence of third-party suspects and motive, including those practicing Norse paganism, Odinism, should be excluded from trial. At this hearing, the defense presented its proposed evidence through certain exhibits, as well as testimony of Dr. Don Perlmutter, Kevin Murphy, Todd Click, Amber Holder, Jerry Holman, Chris Cecil, and Patrick Cicero, among others, and argued that evidence should be used at trial to argue that the third-party suspects committed the crimes and or that the murderers were likely involved in Norse paganism, Odinism, and that said testimony and evidence should therefore be admissible at trial. And on September 4th of 2024, the court issued an order granting the state's motion in limine and excluding evidence of third-party motive, including evidence regarding Odinism, cult or ritualistic killings, Brad Holder, Patrick Westphal, Johnny Messer, Elvis Field, Ned Smith, Rod Abrams, Keegan Klein, Jerry Klein, Ron Logan, and a partridge in a pear tree. In its order excluding the evidence, the court noted that it will allow that evidence to support an offer of proof if one is made by counsel. Therefore, the defense does not believe it is necessary to make the request found in this motion, as the court has already stated that it will allow the aforementioned testimony and exhibits to be used as an offer of proof in trial. The defense makes its request in the motion at hand to even further preserve the record that the court will allow the aforementioned testimony and exhibits to support an offer of proof that counsel for Richard Allen will be making at trial. You know they did, DB. They can't leave out the poor little partridge. The defendant intends to make an offer of proof at trial regarding the evidence of third-party suspects, motive of the individuals listed, as well as that the third-party suspects who murdered the victims were involved in Norse paganism and Odinism. An offer of proof must 1. Make the substance of the evidence, 2. The grounds for the admission, and 3. The relevance of the evidence known to the court in the offer to prove. So essentially, hey, you already know this stuff. You've already seen this evidence. You denied it, but we're allowed to bring it in because that is our defense. This is from Roach versus State, citing blah, 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 blah. Okay, the defendant submits that the substance of the defendant's proposed evidence has been made abundantly clear during the lengthy pretrial hearing regarding the issue, and therefore moves to incorporate the evidence presented at the pretrial hearing on July 30th and August 1st, 2024, into the record at trial for purposes of the defendant's offer of proof. The defendant intends to make his formal offer of proof during the defendant's case in chief. So remember, there's the case in chief that is when the state goes up first, right? And then you have cross-examination on their witnesses. And then when the state rests, then the case in chief goes to the defense, and they get to present their case in chief, which is where they're saying, hey, we should be able to, we should have been able to bring in this evidence and put it in front of a jury, but you're not going to let us do that. So this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it during our time. So they're saying they're not going to put the offers of proof up during the state's time. They're going to do it on their own time. What about the 31st? I think that was I don't think that it's either through, or I think it might have been a different motion that maybe they're not talking about for the purposes of this. I'd have to go back and look at the transcripts because I honestly don't remember which day was what. The defendant intends to make his formal offer of proof during the defendant's case in chief and present additional legal and factual argument in support of the admissibility of the defendant's proposed evidence at the time. She can change her mind and say at any point during this that, yeah, they opened the door for it, that there was enough information during the state's case in chief, there was enough during the cross-examination. She can start allowing some of these things in as the trial is going. So just because it's an out as of now doesn't mean that she right. Doesn't mean that she can't, though. She can change based on things that are happening during testimony. So just an FYI. Hi, Tammy. Missed you. However, should the court grant this request as it has previously indicated that it would, then the defendant intends to rely on the evidence presented at the pretrial hearing on those issues and not present any redundant evidence in the offer of proof. Granting this motion would serve the cause of judicial efficiency, as the defendant's offer of proof would otherwise cause a significant delay in the trial if the defendant were required to present the same evidence into the record at trial for purposes of the offer of proof. Once again, we're talking about the fact that the jury has to leave every single time that they're going to do this, and that how much time that's going to take away from the defense's ability to present their case in chief. Nick doesn't necessarily have to open the door, a witness can. And if the defense can do their job correctly, then they can get a witness to answer the questions. But Nick's going to have to prep his people, prep his witnesses for what type of questions that the defense attorneys are going to be asking to open the door. Let me see what Travis said. This motion, I can't wrap my head around. They wouldn't want the witnesses there and ready to go. Okay. Well, as of right now, they can't call Amber because they can't bring up Brad Holder, so they can't call Amber. So they need to put her information in as an offer of proof of if she was to testify, this is what she would say. But if they don't have them there because they want to use hearing testimony, there's no way to put it off if she changes her mind. Or they might just be feeling like she's not going to change their mind, or she's not going to change her mind. So, okay, let's see. yeah, and it was required to present the same evidence. So yeah, so we don't want to take the time. So we're just going to say, hey, if during this offer to prove, this is the evidence that we'd already presented. You've already seen it. Here it is, and just make it so it's admissible. Further, the granting of this motion before trial will also save money for the Carroll County taxpayers, as those witnesses who have been served with subpoenas will not need to appear, nor will they need to be paid the mileage to appear, including the cost of airfare and time for certain expert witnesses that would be especially costly. This is what Travis was talking about. For me, I only think that this is if they don't get it in during the prosecution's case in chief. They're just kind of, for me, I believe this is just them dotting their I's and crossing their T's in order to say, hey, this is our plan, and then to try to do a little like, look, we're here to try to save some money. If we're going to do this, let's just do it this way. We're not going to be offering up additional evidence during these. What we're going to be offering is the same evidence with our offer of proof, and you already know it, so let's just put it in so that we have it. That's what I'm saying. They can't do that, but the investigators can. So it's very different. That what they can't do is to present the third party as their defense in case in chief. They can question the state's witnesses on what they did for their investigation and what they looked at. And I don't really know how Nick's going to keep it out. And then I don't really know exactly what she's going to use as a quote unquote nexus for opening the door. Does that make sense? But I kind of feel like this is that the people that they would probably, I think the defense would have these people prepped and ready to go still. Maybe not all of them, but I would think that they would, in case there is a switcheroo, that something does happen, that they could get these guys in. Yeah, deny it, and they got to drag everybody back. This one, I don't know how she can really deny this. She's already essentially approved it. She's already said this is what she's going to allow them to do. "61 confessions is going to take a week." I've wondered this, like going into trial, do we think that Nick is going to actually try to play or read the transcripts, or have his witnesses read the transcripts of every one of these supposed admissions confessions? I don't. I think that he's going to take the handful of what he thinks are the most damning and damaging for Richard Allen's defense, and then he'll have his witness say that there's more to it, and then the defense would come in and be like, hey, let's play some of these other ones then that are showing that he's a fucking mess and under the psychosis that they say he is, and let's have somebody else read through those, or have the same person and they just do it on cross. Lee says, if anyone believes that these girls were killed for power and profit, know this. Think about all the money that's been generated for the town county. Think about all the promotions that make money. And that's true. Hey, Lone Pony, there isn't a witness list that is public yet. I don't even know if they'll make one public. They have exchanged between the prosecution and the defense going both ways. They have exchanged their list of exhibits, and they have exchanged their witness list. So everything has been shared, but just not publicly. So we're only getting a little bit of a peek into certain witnesses based on motions that are filed and who's saying what. And then also the potential of the witnesses from the Excel spreadsheet where we have the money that's been spent. Yeah. Sorry, Jerry, we cannot say whose property the bodies were found on. Right. Or what role he played in letting us search his property or anything along those lines. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's too broad, and that's why when Travis was on with me, one of the things I was asking was like a motion to clarify. They didn't do that. They never asked for. They never had a motion to clarify what she didn't or did mean in what they can and can't talk about. Like it was just very broad. Like that's what the criminal network's saying. Like whose land? Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. We cannot tell you whose land they were found on because we'd have to mention Ron Logan at that point. That's not. It can't. I mean, they can't. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, now we have the defense who's requesting for Keegan Klein to come in as a witness. Sorry, I got a notification going off. Let me close that real quick. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. So anyway, so wherefore the accused, Richard Allen, by through and counsel, respectfully request this court to incorporate the evidence presented at the hearing in the state's motion in limine held on July 30th and August 1st into the defendant's offer of proof at trial for and all other relief just and proper on the premises. So that's the end of that motion. So I got about 12 minutes left. So let's see what else you guys are saying in here. I think they want to clarify the line, defense will be allowed to make an offer of proof. You think this is like a little bit of a motion for clarity just on that specific part? Like, hey, you've already said you're going to let us do this. So we want to make sure that you're still on board with it. We're going to do this and you're not going to try to limit the way and how we can do it. Makes sense. No, only the ones that help him, but the defense gets to use the ones that are mumbo-jumbo to hurt his confession of the crime. Well, I think that's going to be a big thing about the Keegan Klein and Ron Logan through James Haas, showing all these confessions that ended up being not there. Hey, True Grit Crime, I hope you're doing okay. I just found out during this live that you had a major car accident. Like, what the heck? I hope you're okay. Hope everybody's okay. I mean, you're here, so I know that you're alive, which is very good, but just make sure you're okay. Like, fuck, it's like, been in some big car wrecks. They can really mess with your mental state when you're driving again. Just a Bloke says, I'm curious to learn what proportion of the confessions are credible, and we know now Gallipo's word is worthless. I want to hear the confessions. I want to hear the interrogations / interviews. Those are the things that I want to hear all that, so we can go, okay, this is what we can assess from those things. And who was actually telling the truth? Was it the defense? Was it the prosecution? Was it somewhere in between? We said the defense said they were worried about public interest now, but posted Walla's address. I don't know. Well, they didn't. I mean, the motion was just made public without any redaction. I don't know if they would have to be the one redacting it, but they both do that kind of stuff. They both put out shit like that. So I don't know whose job that falls on and who should be redacting it. You could use the, did you talk to the property owner? Hey, Richard, yeah, that would be the way to verify a confession. F or upside down L on the tree is going to be strange to discuss for them. Like, whoever did it wanted to sign his name or something. Well, I think it was a mistake for the blood spatter guy to even say that he thought it was an upside down L, because all that does is put into a layman's mind that it is still a letter, it's still a symbol, it's still a something, versus it not being an anything. And not actually making any sense. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't represent anything. It's just that I wouldn't put a letter to it or any type of symbol to it if I was on the state side, I'm saying. Greetings, Madame T, mods, chats, lurkers, and all the replay crew. Unindicted co-conspirator has entered the chat. People falsely confess all the time, especially people suffering from mental illness or drugs. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's not. Like, I think that's like we need to be able to assess that type of stuff publicly. That's why I said I was told that some of the evidence would be available, that the majority of the evidence would be available when the trial is concluded. So if I have a thought process, I'm going to say it's going to cost. They like to charge. So I'm hoping that maybe. I mean, well, I mean that we're ways away from that time right now. We've got to get through the trial first. Did the motion say it was filed under? No, they said that they wanted to. The other one with Walla, they said that they Was that the one that they said they didn't want to talk about witnesses? No, that was a different one. It wasn't filed under any CO. It just was filed. So I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to. I can't answer that. I don't know the right answer. So I don't know who should have been in charge of it. I would think the clerk, when she's the one that puts it public. But that's just a guess. I don't know that for sure. I would suspect that she doesn't live at that address anymore and they couldn't contact her. Well, yeah, and they didn't just, I mean, they do need to get an out-of-state subpoena because she doesn't actually work in the state of Indiana anymore because she was apparently fired from, was it Centurion? Or am I just making that name up right now? I think she was right on the border. Probably wasn't that too much of a drive. Addresses are not normally redacted. It's a court filing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that it's out there. I mean, I don't want to share it. In other words, Travis says, in other words, you can ask about a person's role or position without using the name. The same thing happened in the Reed case. Talk to owner, people in the house, and then the only thing with the Reed case, though, is that fucking Lolly went and put all those people on the stand. So, is it still a heck of a drive? I don't know. I'd have to go back and see where Westfield was. Maybe she had like a like 3 days on, 3 days off kind of thing. You know, like how like nurses are. Lee says, it's a wonder that the defense hasn't contacted you for your skills, hun. And honest praise to you. Oh my gosh, Lee, that is amazing, and thank you very much. And I don't want to be too close to the case. I don't want to be in the depths of it. I want to be able to stay as best as I can on the outside, so that I can have a fair assessment of what I just think is happening. The analogy to the case to Karen Reed would be if Judge Cannoni had granted the motion in limine on the dog attack. Travis, do you think we're going to have the Karen Reed retrial in January, where it's scheduled? I got to put her back on my list. Kaylee says, Nick posted the confessions expert's name and employment when he committed the ex parte violation. That was just crazy that he even had access to that, but whatever. At this point, it's just like nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me in this case anymore. And you just get like, you just shake your head and go, what the fuck? Healthcare, we drive long distances to work, i.e. travel nursing. Oh, there you go. Scarlett, I don't think it is either. I don't think it is either. But I was like, they should all be prepared. Shit, they just did it, and they're going to want it done very quickly. So, hey, Anna says, in states that allow more evidence to be public, there is less controversy. People aren't arguing for the innocence of the Lisk defendant or the creep who is charged with unaliving Madeline Soto. I agree with you. I absolutely think the clusterfuck that we see in the public of this case has everything to do with the way that the investigators presented information to the public and begging the public to get involved and to help, and then telling the public, sorry, we don't really give a shit and we don't want you to know any answers. So whether you think you help or not, we asked for you to be a part of something, and then we're not going to actually give you any of the truth of what's really going on. And then not only that, we're going to switch it all up on you, and we're going to tell you that the old guy is not the guy anymore. We believe it's this young guy over here. And then we're going to lie to the public and now say years later, we've always believed that those are the same two people, when you actually put out a fucking document that says that you already ruled out the first person. So they fucked with the public, and now the public is at each other's throats because everybody thinks they know the right answer, when the investigators have hidden so much information. And I try to put out there, like, if there was no Richard Allen and it was made public that the investigators in this case lost 70 days of recordings and information regarding this case, would you still have faith in these fucking investigators if they had never made an arrest? Or do you think it's okay that they lost all of this shit and had such a crappy investigation and were just so incompetent they couldn't keep their shit together? Is it okay because you think Richard Allen is the right guy? And I think that's a question that people need to ask themselves, because I'll tell you right now, for the amount of public involvement and public interest in this case, I can guarantee there would have been a fucking lynch mob if the public was told that these investigators lost all their shit. Hence, they didn't really want the public's help because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So, yeah, due process, what due process? We just think he's the guy, so that's really all that matters. Lee says, your channel is best of knowledge and your crew of devoted comments are the best. Are the best and civil I've been in over the last few years. I'm no ass kisser, so please take the compliment. You deserve it. And I will take your compliment, and I absolutely appreciate it. But the compliment really goes to the people in the chat who can handle when somebody comes in and isn't always above par on why they're commenting. We're done with the hide and seek bullshit. Yeah, we have not seen the evidence. How can anybody be the guy? All right, you guys. It has been we've been on for almost 3 hours, and that just flew by. I feel like we just like slipped right back into where we needed to be, and we're caught up with what we need. So tomorrow we'll do a theories. We'll just do a theories on what we think could potentially make him the guy, what we think could potentially make it somebody else. We'll do that. We'll do more of a theories live. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Man, I have missed you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's crazy. It's crazy that it's been 2 weeks. Time flew. I didn't even realize it had been so long until I was like, holy shit, I need to actually like come live because I haven't seen you guys forever and I missed you. And here we are. So let me get all this stuff off the screen. But so tomorrow I will see you guys and we'll just do theories. I don't know if I'll do an open panel. Let's see what my mental state is like tomorrow, if I can even consider handling it. But we'll leave it as an option and we'll just do that. So I don't know. The last one kind of went. All right. Love you guys. Go enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. I will see you all mañana.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown.